Hello and welcome back. So, whenever I tell people, like friends, family, or anything like that, that my wife and I we've bought a 4 acre woodland, quite often they'll say to us, "Why a woodland?" And it's a really tough one to explain, if because a lot of people just don't understand why you'd want to buy a woodland. So for me, there's a couple of reasons really. I became really interested in bushcraft and outdoor camping and basically being outdoors all the time about 15 years ago or so. And was it 15 years ago? Yeah, it was about 15 years ago. I must have been about 28 or so. And for my birthday, my wife's family, her mum and her stepdad, they bought me a 2 day bushcraft experience weekend with Woodland Ways, and that was a brilliant experience. I loved it, and ever since then, I've wanted to carry on more and more. I just wanted to get into it. I wanted to basically playing with knives and fire. Basically a kid with but able to do grown-up things. It's brilliant. So anyway, after that course, I was looking into it and looking into how you'd go about owning a woodland, and it just wasn't feasible at all. We didn't have the money, we didn't have the time or anything like that, and not only that, we were looking at starting a family, so buying a woodland was never on the cards. But I never stopped thinking about it, ever. So fast forward to about 2 years ago. My wife's cousin is he's an outdoor instructor. He takes young people on experiences, he takes them on hikes, he gives them outdoor experiences because he's got access to a woodland as well. And one particular weekend, he invited my wife and 2 children and I down to spend the weekend with him. And my wife loved it, which really surprised me. And she just said jokingly, "Oh, maybe we should look into getting a woodland." And that was it. That was it. She said the magic words. That's permission in my eyes. So on the way home, because it was about a 4 hour drive home from where her cousin is based, and we were looking at listings on the way home. Well, one of us was. The other, myself, was driving. I didn't care where we went. It was a case of, yeah, we're looking at woodlands. And my wife found one. Well, she found two that were relatively close to us, because I live in Lincolnshire, so there's very little options by the way of purchasing a woodland over in Lincolnshire. There's just nothing there. But we found one about 45 minutes away in Nottinghamshire, which I thought was perfect. It's far enough away to make you think, "Oh, I'm going away for a little bit," but close enough to think, "Sod it, I'm going to the woods for a couple of hours," and which is what I've done today. I've just decided I'm going to the woods today. So we went and had a look at two on this plot, and the first one was a bigger plot. It was 6.5 acres. So we thought we'll take a look at that one first, because it was a better price per acre than what this particular plot was. But when we ended up having a look around it, it was just unusable. It was steep slopes on, if you're thinking of it as a square, 3 of the 4 sides were just 45-degree slopes, and probably a table tennis court size area on top of it that was usable. So yes, it was 6 acres, but about 100 square meters of it was usable. So we thought, right, okay, we'll go and have a look at the other one, this one. It's only 4 acres, but we'll go and have a look at it anyway. And I'm so glad we did, because this is just completely flat. In the entire woodland, I think this is the flattest plot out of all of them, apart from my immediate next door neighbour. So we decided to go for it. The price of it was £54,000, I think it was. So as soon as we got home, we got in contact with the agents, Woods for You, and we put in an offer, and it was accepted on the proviso that the vendor accepted a mortgage purchase, because the issue that came for us was that we were buying using a mortgage, which is unusual for people buying a woodland. Most people buy as a cash purchase rather than as a mortgage. So they had to go and ask the vendor whether they would or not. And to our surprise, they said yes. So here we are. So I said that there was two reasons for us buying a woodland, because I thought I'd just bring us back on topic, because going down the whole mortgage route is a topic for another video, because God, that was a faff. So I'll do that video next about buying a woodland on a mortgage, because it's not a process I'd want to repeat. So the second reason for us wanting to buy a woodland, the first was because we wanted to, and although it took 10-15 years, I managed to convince my wife that she wanted to as well. The second reason was there's a helicopter. I'm glad I stopped that, because that flew straight overhead. So the second reason why we wanted to buy a woodland is I'm self-employed, and because of that I don't pay into a pension. But what I was doing was I was putting away £350, I think it was, into a stocks and shares account every month. And it was a case of just putting into that month in, month out, as you would your pension, and just hoping that over time that was going to grow in value. When my wife decided that we should start looking at a woodland, I'm putting it on my wife, because I've always wanted a woodland. So when she decided that we're going to look at buying a woodland, I started to do some maths around the whole mortgage process and how much it was going to cost us per month to buy on a wood. And lo and behold, £315, I think it was, to mortgage this property. The repayments were £315 a month on the £54,000. We did have to put a 25% deposit down on that, which thankfully we had. So for the remaining £30,000 every month, we pay £315 a month. So I thought, brilliant, what I can do is stop paying into my stocks and shares, start paying a mortgage. And this will then become my pension. Hopefully the woodland will appreciate in value. And then when I get to retirement age and can no longer manage the woodland myself, then we'll sell it, and then we'll take the money, and then we'll live off that. I hope it never gets to that point, because although I saw this as a short-term 20-year project, so buying it now, going 20 years, retiring, selling, taking the cash, living off it, I really hope that we get to a point where we don't need to sell this property, because I've fallen in love. I knew I was going to, but it's happened anyway. So that's the second reason for buying the property. It's my safety net. Because yes, I do have a small pension from when I was employed. So I've got one from I worked for Vodafone for a few years as an analyst, and then the Wildlife Trust for 5 years as their web developer. But it's still only small. It's certainly nothing that if I retire tomorrow, I can't live on it. Whereas hopefully this property, once in 20 years time, hopefully it's appreciated to enough of value that we can sell it and make a decent enough money from it to live on, as well as my wife's pension as well. So that's where we are. I was also hoping that my kids were going to fall in love with the woods as well, but unfortunately only my youngest, my daughter, she does. My son, he'll come up, mess around with fire, but he'll only probably do it once every 2 months or so. He really doesn't care for it like I do, which I'm a bit disappointed about, but you know, you can't put your own passions and hobbies onto your own children. But thankfully my daughter loves it. Funnily enough, she's even asked if we can come up here this weekend and bring in one of her friends, and her friends loves the outdoors as well. They're from a scouting background as well, so they've been living in tents since since they were born, really. So hopefully I'm going to steal a friend's daughter, and bring the both of them up here, and we're just gonna have a bit of a fun time. So yeah, next time I'll go through the whole process of buying the woodland on a mortgage, because as I said previously, it's not something I ever want to do again. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Granted, we were desperate in the sense that we wanted a woodland, but we didn't have the full £54,000. So I would recommend it if you're absolutely desperate and you really, really want to get your hands on a woodland, but just be prepared for roadblock after roadblock after roadblock to be put in the way, because it was hard work. But yeah, I'll go through that in another video. But anyway, thanks for watching it. If you want to follow along, by all means give us a subscribe, and I will speak to you next time.